Welcome to Soaps.com. I'm Kristen Burt. Well, Theresa is back on the Days of Our Lives landscape, and here to tell us all about it is Jen Lilley. Jen, so good to see you.
So good to see you.
I know it's been a minute or two, I think.
It's been a hot minute. Yeah, I have 4 children, I think, since we've last talked to each other.
I see you more on Instagram. I know you're busy. But I would love to know, what did it mean to you when you got the phone call that you were going to take part in Victor's memorial service? Because this is such a big deal.
So I didn't really get a phone call, which is why it's complicated. So I got myself into this mess. When John Aniston passed away, obviously all of us experienced that loss, and I was so sad. And John meant a lot to me as an actor. He gave me a lot of advice, career advice and stuff while I was on set, and he was just always so kind to me. And I was very grateful for our last scene together. And I just felt like Victor and Theresa had this extremely special relationship. So I thought, gosh, I wonder if they're going to have a memorial service for Victor. I bet they are. And then I was like, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't email Albert, about it. And then I was promoting a Christmas movie that I did last year, and I was talking to Michael Maloney on the phone. Mm-hmm. I love Michael.
Yes.
And he was like, how about that stuff with John? And I was like, I know, I'm so sad. I thought about emailing, Albert to see if like Theresa could go back for the memorial service, but I don't know, and he was like, well, you should. And I was like, do you think that would be like, okay? Is that overstepping? And he was like, no, I really think you should. So I emailed Albert Alar last Christmas, and which my tree is still up, but I love it. Because of my company that I now own called Christmas. It's not canceled.
Yep.
But so anyway, I emailed Albert and I was like, hey, I don't know if you've already taped the memorial service for John, for Victor. But if you haven't, I would really love to see all of you. I would really love to come back. I think it would mean a lot to Theresa. And I just think that there was a lot going on in that relationship that, it would make sense for her to be there. And I would really love to see all of you guys. So he emailed me back and was like, that's a great idea. It's so good to hear. Like, we haven't written it yet. I'll be in touch. Circle back like at the end of January. So I was like, okay. January rolled around, hadn't heard. I was like, okay, February starts. And I was like, so I messaged him back in February and I was like, you told me to circle back, like no pressure. And he wrote back, all excited. Yeah. We've been working on it. We'll be in touch. So I didn't let my manager and agent know that I had that conversation. So they were very surprised when they got the phone call, and they're like, you are never going to believe this. We got a call from Days of Our Lives asking if you want to come back. And I was like, oh, I think it's just to come back as, for John's funeral. Mm-hmm. And they said, no, it's to come back. And I was like, oh no. Oh Lord, what have I done? Because I can't come back. I'm not I wish I could. So Kristen, you're the first one that gets to spill all these beans. And I'm trying to look up all the info that I can't say. But I'm going to tell you what happened if you want to know what happened.
Give it to us. I want to hear this.
I'm going to legit read you the emails back and forth.
Okay.
Okay. Theresa. Oh, man. And listen, I've been in touch with Days multiple times and they have not given me any info. So I just decided you get to spill the beans.
Might as well be us.
I was like, why is it not pulling up? And it's not pulling up because I'm in the wrong inbox because I have way too many jobs. I'm on the Christmas is not canceled inbox. Okay. So I was like, oh my gosh. Basically, while I'm looking up this email, I'm like, Janet, hang on. Days. Okay, here it is.
Okay, perfect.
Golly. So they said, can you come back? And I was like, they want you for 12 weeks. And, and I said, no, I talked to my manager and agent. I said, I can do 3, but I'm under contract right now to Great American Family. I have things that are in the pipeline that I can't talk about because of the strike that are supposed to go. I have 4 children. There's just a lot. that prevented me from coming back permanently. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel so bad. And so I was like, just tell them I can come for 3 or 4 weeks, because that's what it is when I go do a movie. And they wrote back, they being like Albert, and I don't know, the powers that be, wrote my agents, and they were like, well, we got all excited, and, you know, I'm not reading yet. We got all excited, and we're gonna, you know, at this point, the character of Theresa is coming back, whether or not it's Jen. And so I was like, you know, I get that. Like, I sympathize with them. That really stinks. But my agents were like, BS, they have not written 12 weeks worth of material. And I said, well, you know, tell them I'm happy to come back for 3 or 4 weeks. And they were like, well, we wrote 12. There's no way they wrote 12. They were just, I think they were bluffing at the time. I wrote this to my agents, and then I said, you know what, just go ahead and forward this to the powers that be at Days of Our Lives. If I cry, I'm sorry, but I was sobbing writing this email because I did not want them to recast Theresa, but like, I also knew I couldn't come back. It was not possible for me to come back for 12 weeks for a lot of reasons. And I really, really wanted to, and so it was just a pickle. So I said, please emphasize to Marnie, that's their incredible casting director. Please emphasize to Marnie how much I absolutely adore everyone top to bottom over at Days of Our Lives. I have cherished the role of Theresa. I can't think of a cast and crew and set of directors and producers I love or respect more. I never thought I'd want to do daytime after my experience on General Hospital, because the fans rejected me. Side note, not because like I really loved that, but it was a rough go, if anybody remembers.
Right, we talked about it. I know.
Being a recast, like being recast is awful. So I said, you know, I never thought I'd wanted to do daytime after my experience on General Hospital, but Days changed everything for me. Days feels like family. Days is home to me. I truly considered coming back with great weight and extensive prayer. It's with tears that I write that I just don't think or feel that right now is the right season for me to do that. I completely understand their need to recast, and I'm extremely grateful they offered me the first right of refusal. I feel so seen and loved, and I just hope they truly understand that the love and respect is so mutual. I sincerely hope sometime down the road they'll consider having me come in to play in some fashion. And to the girl stepping in to play the funniest and sassiest character in daytime, please let her know she has my full support. Being a recast is really hard. She'll get no drama from me. And if that girl needs any help or has any questions, I'm happy to be a resource for her. So I wrote that, and I'm thinking, I wrote it, I send it, I'm sobbing my eyes out, and I'm like, this is so sad. Like, I caused this. Like, all I wanted to do is come back for John's funeral, and like, we're gonna recast my favorite character, and like, there's just so much going on in my life that I can't say no. I can't say yes to like I can't say yes to a full thing right now. It's just not possible. I had so many things lined up. I couldn't.
How many balls in the air?
So many balls in the air, and I was like, oh man, this stinks. So a couple days go, they send it, a couple days goes by, and I'm like crying, just get over it, you know, like just ready to like cheer on whoever they're going to put in there. And they called back like a few days later, and they're like, listen, we circulated the email. We really love Jen, and we want it to be Jen. So we're just going to make her, we've seen her, this is like told to me, told to my reps. We've seen her do up to 87 pages of her own dialogue a day. True. So just tell her to basically get ready, and we're going to slam those 12 weeks into like the 3 or 4. And I was like, Jehovah,
we can do this.
So excited. I was so excited. I was jumping up and down. I was screaming. I was so excited. I literally weaned my youngest baby so that I could go and do the role. Yes, I was like, this is the best thing. That is the kindest thing ever. I can't believe that they're having me back. So I go to play the role of Theresa. First day I get on set, I'm like down, and I'm in Ari's dressing room across from Eric, and they still have like, you know, all the COVID stuff on set. So we're like sitting 6 feet apart, like this was in March when I went back. Right. We're sitting like 6 feet apart, like his dressing room, my dressing room. Like, I just got the door open, and I'm like, let's catch up. And I was like, yeah. So Albert told me I was doing like, you know, the 12 weeks in the 4, and like, I don't know what's going on, but like, let's go. I'm really excited. Like, thank God they only gave me 1 line on my first day, which is what they did to me my first day as Theresa. So I'm thinking, okay, they're just basically going to give me like a break. They're going to be nice and like
Warm
not
you
give me
up.
1,000 lines. Yeah. Like just be like, get your sea legs back. Like, welcome to set. Say hi to everybody. Like, don't be stressed. And so the first day, obviously, breeze, great. And like all my time there was great. But as time went on, I would ask Albert like about the storyline, like where it's going. These are all things obviously I can't say now because I would never do that. There's like a lot of spoilers. And he would tell me things and I'm like, that's so weird because I'm not getting these scripts. And every day it would be like, I have one script. I don't have like 12 weeks worth of material. So I'm getting nervous and I'm like, this is so strange. And like, I'm talking to the people that are in my scenes with me because it was Eric and somebody else that like hasn't been released yet. And I'm like, have you guys gotten any of the scripts? Like, this is so strange because Albert told me that X, Y, and Z has to happen, but I have like a week left. And like, where are
Shooting 12 weeks in a week is a lot.
like, this is crazy, no, in 3, shooting 12 weeks in 3 weeks.
Right.
So it's like the Friday of my second week, I have booked myself out to be available for 4 weeks. And I get a script for the next week from Bob Lambert, who's in casting, and it just is for Monday only, the whole next week. And I was like, that's weird. So I sat in my dressing room, or whoever's dressing room I was borrowing for the day. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. They went ahead and recast me and nobody has said anything to me. And so I go over to like Rob Scott Wilson's dressing room and I'm like, hey, this is what I think is going on. And he's like, no way, no way. They told all of us they were giving you the 12 weeks. Like they probably just haven't given you the script back. And so I was like, yeah, you're probably right. I'm probably just being like a girl about it,
But yeah, just like making it more
yeah,
dramatic.
like I'm probably just whatever. So I'm like, okay. So I emailed Bob Lambert back and I'm like, hey, Bob, like I only have a script for Monday. Are the like it's Friday. Are there more scripts coming? Because at this point, I'm also getting nervous that like now I have like 10 more weeks of filming and 2 weeks left to do it.
Right.
I'm like, oh God, like if you have scripts, please give them to me because I would love to spend the whole week.
Yeah, you need to go there. Oh my gosh.
He just emails me back and says, that's a question for Marnie. And I'm like, who's head casting director? I love Marnie. And I'm like, okay. So at this point, I'm like, okay. So I'm in the dressing room and I'm like, no cell service. And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to pray. And I'm just going to take this, like, I'm just going to be classy about this because truthfully, they did warn me that they were going to recast me. They led me to believe that they weren't. But at the same time, I already had 3 days of mourning the fact that they're going to recast me. So let me just put my big girl panties back on and just like, let me just be gracious because I am very, very, very grateful that they did give me first right of refusal. I just don't like the way the situation was handled.
Right.
So they didn't do the wrong thing writing her back. That got them excited. I just think the way it was handled was not appropriate. So I go and do what I'm pretty sure are like gonna be basically some of my last scenes. So I go to shoot like what I know are basically my last scenes with Eric, which was heartbreaking. And I went up to Albert's office because I was like, I'm from the East Coast. Like I'm a very direct person and I'm a very respectful person, or I try to be. So just tell me to my face and like just let me know, but just please like just tell me the truth. So I go and knock on his door and I'm like, hey Albert, like do you have a second? He said, yeah, sure. So I like go to put my mask on. He's like, I don't know, 1,000 feet away. He's like, his office was really big, he was like 40 feet away. And so he's like, you don't have to do that. We could just stand like across. And I was like, thank you, because I would like to be able to like see each other, and I said, listen, like you told me, like Teresa's going to do X, Y, and Z. And I haven't gotten the scripts. Like I only got one more for Monday, and like I have 2 weeks left. And you told me that like this and this and this and this is going to happen with Theresa. So like, am I getting more scripts, or did you actually just go ahead and recast me? And he said, and I'm like putting my stuff down so he doesn't see me for a second. Like he didn't see my face for a second. And so he said, oh no, Theresa's still going to do all of that. And then I sat down and turned around and made eye contact with him. And I could see that he made the decision to be like, I'm not going to lie to you. And he goes, it's just, we're going to do it with a different Theresa. And I was like, okay, well, hey, like, I really appreciate you telling me that, and no hard feelings. And I really appreciate you guys, you know, offering me first right of refusal. Like, can you tell me who it is? And he did. And I said, listen, well, here's what was weird too. The girl who's recasting me as Theresa is a brunette. And when I decided to come back, I was ready to cut my hair and dye it brown to play Theresa again. Like I was like, I'll do whatever you guys need. I'm so grateful that you're working this out. You know, like, I can't believe you're going to put 12 weeks into 3 or 4. Like, that is so gracious. I'll cut my hair. I'll dye it. I'll do whatever you need. I am so grateful. And they said, the day before I flew out, they said, no, just can you actually, this is like kind of how I normally rock my hair now. But they said, this is too dark. Will you go like blonde? And I was like, sure. It's kind of weird because I felt like I was going back to Days of Our Lives as Maxie Jones, you know, and they got mixed up. I was like, that's fine. I'll do, sure. Like, if you want me to, yeah, sure. Like,
you're like, I can make that happen. Yeah.
Whatever you want. I'm so grateful. So the person that's playing Theresa that I can't officially announce, because I can't tell if it's been officially announced or anything, and I'm not getting responses from anyone, is a brunette. And I said, so he said, yeah, she's known for 3 weeks. And I was like, what? So I'm like, so everybody's been lying to me this whole time. And that poor actress, like that poor girl has had to like had conversations with me. How horrible must she have felt? That's not cool to do to her. And I was like, so are you, I'm so confused because you guys asked me to dye my hair blonde, but like, you know, she's a brunette. So like, are you just, oh yeah, we're just going to put her in a wig.
Oh my, I gotta ask, were you crossing paths with this actress who's stepping in?
Yes. And then like I run downstairs and find this person and I gave her a hug and I was like, I am so sorry. I just found out that must be so awkward for you.
Not her fault.
I said, I was a recast on General Hospital. It was horrible with the fans. Like they finally came around, but it was just super brutal. Like the fans, and I appreciate that the fans are so committed, but maybe they've gotten better, but usually back in the day when I started, like they tweeted and like would tag me in the comments, like your voice makes us want to kill our own children. I'm like, oh, so sorry.
Like, stop with the drama.
Don't tag me. Like, you don't have to like me. I'm so sorry. I know it's a situation, but you know, like it's hard to just like, it's hard to read comments, you know? And so I said to her, we can do joint interviews. And she's like, I don't want to play Theresa. Teresa's everything that I'm not. Like, I was just informed that I'm playing Theresa. This is like a nightmare for me. And I was like, you know.
How was she introduced to you on set? They're like, oh, she's coming in to play a character later on kind of thing?
I can't say.
Oh.
But I can say later. But I was
Okay.
like, I cannot even. And so I was like, listen, let me just like quick coach you on Theresa. I said, Theresa's name of the game is that she just loves getting on people's nerves. So like everything, like if a guy's collar is popped up or he has a hair on him and he doesn't like her, she's just going to go up and fix it and be like, just, you know, have something. Like she's just like that. She's a mumbler. Like she's very fun. And she's like, I can't do that. I don't like being in personal space. And I'm like, you can do this. You can do this. I'm so sorry that like, you know, I was just trying to like give her pointers. Like I was like, let me give you my cell phone. Listen, no hard feelings. Like, I know you didn't ask for this. And it was just a horrible situation. Like, top to bottom, it was just not handled the right way.
Did the
But
rest of the cast know this, or anybody in the
no,
cast?
and so, like
No.
I'm like run down to Eric's room, and like Eric's wrapped for the day, and like so I was gonna go tell Eric, and Eric's like, "There's no way, that's not true." And like by the time I told him, he was mad. Everybody was mad because everybody was kind of lied to.
Why do
Everybody
you
was led.
why do you think they handled this so poorly? Because you had already written that email being upfront saying, if you need to recast, I'm here to embrace.
I don't know. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. It didn't make sense to me. I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever know, but I will say, even though it was handled not the best way, I was still super grateful to go back for like the 2 weeks 2 weeks and one day that I did. I loved seeing everybody, and it was just wonderful catching up with everybody, and it was really fun to play her for the 2 weeks and one day. And I'm super, wishing that the new girl like lots of love and lots of, I'm happy that the storyline of Theresa and Brady can continue on, because I love that pairing so very much. It's like I'm not even mad about it, but I don't know. I have lots of mixed feelings, because I'm like, I just wish she would have told me, but there's so much about it that like doesn't make sense. Like,
Yeah, and there's a lot going on.
Steve Burnett? Like,
I know, and I'm also thinking like just with the names dropped, and there was a lot going on behind the scenes too at Days of Our Lives during that
yes,
time period too,
yes,
obviously with Albert.
yes. Oh my gosh. And so,
This just
yeah,
adds another layer to this sort of complexity of it all.
yes. And I will say, like, I can't comment on all of that other than like Albert was always very kind to me. So, and he left me a super sweet voicemail, when I left, just being like, "Hey, we just really wanted to thank you." And they were very kind to me, like when I thought they were going to recast me and then bring me back on, and like when we had to have the conversations about like why I couldn't come back, and they were all very, very kind about the fact that I've just chosen, right now I have 4 young children, and I have a lot of contracts that I am obligated to as an actress, and as a child advocate. Like, I run a company called Christmas Is Not Canceled now, but like my oldest child is 7, and I was still I did wean one of my children to do it because it meant a lot to me to come back, but it was just odd. I mean, I don't know,
I'm so stunned by all of this. Just does it change how you feel? Maybe not about Theresa and maybe not about the show, but maybe behind the scenes, some of the people that misled you about this?
I don't have any ill will or emotions. It's just confusing. It was a confusing way to handle it. And I mean, the way I guess I'm choosing to look at it was that, like, I was so grateful for the 2 weeks and one day I had. And I was so grateful to reconnect to so many of those actors. I was so grateful. I'm so grateful that I met Zach Tinker. I'm friends with his dad, John Tinker, who's like this great writer. It was fun to meet new people and to cross different paths, but it was just bizarre. And then they announced it without telling me either. And I kept being like, "Hey guys, like, when are we going to announce this? Because I think that with all the news that's out right now, it might be a really great time to like maybe announce that like I'm coming back."
Something fun.
I broke and I got a Google alert, and I was just like, okay.
You're like, thanks. Well, how did they leave it with you? Did they leave it like this is a temporary recast and you could come and expect in the future?
Here's what's crazier. I don't know if I can give you all the details, and I don't think I can, so I'm going to be really careful about how I say this. Here's where they left it with me, and I don't know if this is true either. They said, "Well, the person who's taking over for you is really only going to finish off the 12 weeks you were going to do. But you're always Theresa." And I was like, "Oh, that's even worse to do to this actress. This poor girl who has to be like the temp recast is the worst. You could not do something more unkind to a recast." I mean, I am hoping that she and I get to do interviews together, because I'm like, I will take the bullets for you. Trust me. Like, Kirsten Storms and I are totally cool behind the scenes, but like,
Right.
we never got to do joint interviews, and it was hell and high water that I went through. And like, I would never put another actress through that, like, ever. So I don't know. Like, I don't know. And I also don't know why they didn't use me for the 4 weeks. I don't know.
There's no answers to that. That's
There's no
unbelievable.
logic.
I mean, I'm glad you're smiling at this point, because I'm just a little flabbergasted in absorbing all of this news at once of,
We never know all the reasons why things happen. Like, there could be a lot of things, and it could be it's just like, it's the same thing you have to learn as an actress, right? And like, probably have to learn as an interviewer.
Mhm.
You have to learn as a person, but especially in the entertainment industry, it's like, how many times do you not get an audition? You don't know why. Like, it could be they don't like your hair color and they don't remember that hair dye exists, or there's nepotism involved, or like, the lead actress on a movie might have producing say or override on like who's cast, and she's going to cast a friend, or the network has like a favor that they have. You never know why, like, all the
Right.
things. You just have to do your best and be grateful for your opportunities as they come. But it was certainly bizarre, that's for sure.